Hi everyone, welcome to NetGate Chemistry. So in the previous video of coordination chemistry, we were discussing about isomerism and we also did the classification of the isomerism. Basically the broad classification of isomerism, that was structural isomerism, or you can say constitutional isomerism, and second was stereoisomerism. So today we are going to discuss about the structural isomerism. And the first type of structural isomerism is the ionization isomerism. So first we are going to discuss about the ionization isomerism. Basically in the isomers which involve exchange of ligands between coordination sphere and ionization sphere, they show ionization isomerism. So now first you should know what is coordination sphere and what is ionization sphere. So we are going to understand using an example. So for example, if we have a coordination complex CO NH3 5 Cl, this is the coordination sphere, and above this, outside this is SO4. So this is the coordination sphere and this is for the part of ionization sphere. And also we have one more complex which is CO NH3 5 SO4. This time Cl is outside this coordination sphere, that is in the ionization sphere. So suppose I am going to add barium chloride to this complex. So what happens now is that barium sulfate is precipitated out. It is a white precipitate, and if I add silver nitrate, then no precipitation is observed. So what happens basically here is that inside the coordination sphere it is only precipitated out and not this Cl which is present inside. In this case, if we add AgNO3, then this Cl is not going to get removed outside this coordination sphere. Only the part which is outside the coordination sphere, which we call as ionization sphere, that is precipitated out. That's why if we add barium chloride, then barium sulfate is precipitated out, because this sulfate ion can ionize in the solvent and then we can get barium sulfate as white precipitate, but not this Cl which is present inside the coordination sphere. That's why AgCl is not formed here and we do not get any precipitates here, right? Similarly, in this case, if we add AgNO3 silver nitrate, then we get AgCl. Again, these are white precipitates. And if we add barium chloride, then no precipitates are observed, right? Here Cl is precipitated out when we add silver nitrate, and SO4 is not precipitated out because it is inside the coordination sphere. So these type of structures or coordination compounds in which we have a coordination sphere and an ionization sphere, so there involves exchange of ligands. See, these two ligands are exchanged in these two compounds, and because of the presence of ligand inside or outside the coordination sphere, we get different precipitates. So these type of, basically in these isomers we get different ions in the solvent which are precipitated out when we add a solvent medium. Okay, so basically we are getting different ions when we provide a solvent to these compounds. although the molecular formula is the same for both of them. So this is about the ionization isomerism. So now we'll move on to, okay, we can get one more example for this. For example, if we have CONH3 5 and I, outside we have SO4, second is CONH3 5, and now we have SO4 in the coordination sphere and I is outside the coordination sphere. In both cases we are going to add barium chloride, AgNO3, barium chloride, AgNO3. So now what happens? Now you know that SO4 is going to precipitate out and not this I. So with barium chloride we are going to get barium sulfate as white precipitates, and with AgNO3 there will be no precipitation. Here with barium chloride no precipitates will be observed, and with AgNO3 we are going to get AgI. These will be the yellow precipitates, right? So this is all about the ionization isomerism. So now second type of isomerism under the category of structural isomerism is the linkage isomerism. So now we'll move on to the linkage isomerism. Now the second type of isomerism under the category of structural isomerism is the linkage isomerism. So if we talk about the linkage isomerism, then it deals with ligands having two potentially ligating atoms which are also known as ambidentate ligands. This we have studied earlier. What are ambidentate ligands? Right? Ambidentate ligands are those which are having two potentially ligating atoms that are capable of bonding through one type of donor atom in one situation and different donor in another situation. So they can bind to the central metal atom or ion using any of those two sides. So we can understand that using an example. We have studied some of the ambidentate ligands like SCN negative and NCS negative, right? So they can so these type of ligands, what happens, they can bind either through S or through N, right? So if we try to understand this using an example, then we can have an example like CONH3 5 NO2 2 positive and CONH3 5 ONO 2 positive. Here NO2 and ONO, these are the ambidentate ligand. Here the ligand is going to attach to cobalt through nitrogen site, and here it is going to attach to the central metal through the oxygen site. So these are known as ambidentate ligands. So if there is difference in the linkage of the ligands while they are linking with the central metal, then definitely they are going to show the linkage isomerism. These are basically observed in the complexes in which we have ambidentate ligands. So this is about the ambidentate ligands. Now we'll move on to the third type of isomerism, which is known as hydrate, or also one type that is solvate isomerism, right? So Now we'll move on to hydrate isomerism. So the third type is hydrate. Also you can say solvate isomerism. When we have water in case of hydrate isomerism and any other solvent in case of solvate isomerism, molecules, when we have, suppose we are talking about hydrate isomerism, then when water molecules are interchanged between coordination sphere and ionization sphere, then we get to see hydrate isomerism, right? So this is the hydrate isomerism, which we can understand using an example. So basically in hydrate isomerism, different number of water ligands, H2O ligands, will be in the hydration sphere. So for example, if I take the case of chromium H2O 6, outside the coordination sphere we have Cl3. This is in violet color, right? When we are going to add concentrated sulfuric acid, here concentrated sulfuric acid is going to work as dehydrating agent. Then there will be no change observed. But suppose we have chromium H2O 5 Cl. Outside the coordination sphere we have now Cl2 and one water molecule outside this coordination sphere. See, in A and B the molecular formula is same. Chromium as central metal ion, 6 water molecules, 5 plus 1, 6 water molecules, 3 Cl, 2 Cl and 1, 3 Cl. The molecular formula is same for both. So this is light green in color. This compound is light green in color. Now here also we are going to add concentrated H2SO4. Here also it is going to act as dehydrating agent. Now what happens? We get chromium H2O5 Cl, Cl2 and one water molecule is removed. Okay. So what happens? Here we have two compounds, two coordination complexes in which we have same molecular formula, but here no change is observed and here one water molecule is removed. Now again we have a coordination complex which is having same molecular formula, but the complex is chromium H2O, this time 4 Cl2 Cl and 2 water molecules. Here also we have 6 water molecules in the overall complex and 3 Cl, just like this and this. So this is dark green in color. Here also we are going to add concentrated H2SO4, which is again going to act as dehydrating agent. So here what happens, these two water molecules are going to get removed. Now what is happening in all these cases? Okay, first we'll write the CrH2O 4 Cl2 Cl and 2 water molecules will be removed. Now if you look closely, what is happening here is that we are just going to see what are the ligands, what are the ligands which are present inside the coordination sphere. Those ligands which are present inside the coordination sphere, they are not going to get removed by adding any amount of H2SO4. So what happens when we add concentrated H2SO4 outside the coordination sphere? No water molecule is present, so that's why there is no change. Here outside this coordination sphere, only one water molecule is present. That's why this one water molecule is removed, because here concentrated H2SO4 is acting as a dehydrating agent. In third case, two water molecules are outside the coordination sphere. So when we are adding dehydrating agent, these two water molecules are going to get removed, right? All the water molecules which are present inside the coordination sphere, which are acting as ligands in these complexes, these are not going to get removed when we are adding any dehydrating agent into the complex solution. So this is all about the hydrate or solvate isomerism. So what you have to remember is that all those ligands which are inside the coordination sphere, they are not going to get removed by the addition of any solvent or dehydrating agent. Not solvent, dehydrating agent in this case. So this is about the hydrate isomerism. There are two more types of isomerism, that is coordination isomerism and coordination position isomerism, which we are going to study in the next video. So far that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.